Hi, I'm Hazel, and this is a guide to the Jaina raid boss in Battle of Dazar'Alor on Normal and Heroic difficulty. This is an absolutely insane last fight for the raid. It's very long, there's tons of mechanics, and you could say that it's cool. You start the fight with phase 1 on a boat. You can fall or be knocked off the boat. That will kill you, you have been warned. Chilling Touch is a running theme mechanic in this fight. Most abilities apply Chilling Touch stacks to you, which slow you down and do damage over time. If you get to 20 stacks and drop below 80% health, you'll be frozen solid into an ice block. Kill those to break people out. Other ships will pull up alongside and bombard yours, which you want to move out of. That will leave behind pools of searing pitch, which hurt if you stand in them, but will also clear your Chilling Touch stacks. Dip your toes into the fire now and then to keep your stacks down. On Heroic, the bombardment also has a knockback to be careful of that isn't a problem as long as you don't get hit. To make the bad boat go away, click on the ballistas on that side of the ship. It'll take a few goes, but they'll get the idea. Culturan Marines will board and fixate random players. They kinda suck at their jobs, and you can tank them pretty safely, so just drag them forward so people can cleave them. They will also use Set Charge, which lays down explosive barrels on the ship. Pick those up, walk them to the edge, and then use the extra action button that appears to chuck them off. Meanwhile, Jaina's doing Jaina things. Her Ice Shard goes onto the tank and is just damage on normal, but on Heroic it stacks a debuff that will require a tank swap after a few stacks. She'll target the tank and a few more players with Avalanche, and that causes ice damage to rain down after you. Run that over the fire to put it out, especially if the fire is on the ballistas. Do always leave at least one patch up, but most of it can be cleared for space. Grasp of Frost roots, chills, and hurts a random player. Healers dispel that as quick as you can. Freezing Blast is a skinny cone knockback attack that she'll fire out in front of her. Check where she's facing when she starts the cast, and don't let it knock you off. Her Ring of Ice damages and freezes anyone within 30 yards and then does a smaller burst of damage in roots players that are outside of that. Get outside of the 30-yard ring and then step into the searing pitch just before her cast ends to have it break your root. On Heroic and higher, she'll Time Warp at 70% health, which just makes her spit out her spells a little bit faster. Now, unrelated, but if you try to Time Warp or Lust or Heroism, Jaina will instantly Ice Block. It's exactly as funny as it sounds. You'll use it later in the fight, just not against her. When Jaina reaches 60% health, she knocks everyone back a bit and ports out to sea to start the intermission. Mind your back and don't get kicked off the boat. Visibility sucks now, and the goal is to find Jaina and kick her howling winds. There will be glacial shards and tornadoes to dodge that are all bad news if they hit you, so just watch out and somebody find Jaina. With that sorted, welcome to phase 2. You're still getting cold and there's a lot less fire around. This phase is about managing your stacks while dealing with a laundry list of mechanics and getting Jaina down to 40%. Arctic Ground is put down by several mechanics in this phase, and it's basically super ice that's even icier than regular ice. Don't walk on this if you can avoid it because it'll amp up your chill stacks. Jaina's Proudmoore flagship shows up overhead. It'll target players with Broadside, which is a small dot that drops a big target circle when it expires. Move that out of the raid unless it's needed, which we'll get to shortly. Siegebreaker Blast targets a player and after 10 seconds explodes their location for raid-wide damage that's reduced by distance. If you get this, run it far, far away from the group. Unexploded ordnance are these 3 barrels that start in the room. These are the only source of warmth in this phase. They have refractive ice, which means you can't kill them normally. When you're ready to pop one, run a broadside AoE over it to break the barrel. Once it's broken, anyone can get near it to drop their chill stacks in the warmth. You want to be quick about it. After 15 seconds, the barrels will do a 20-yard explosion, and you need to be gone by then. Meanwhile, Jaina's continuing Ice Shard and Avalanche from phase 1. Avalanche has gotten an upgrade. It'll only affect the tank, but Hands of Frost will shoot out from the Avalanche impacts. The tank runs that away from the group, and everyone dodge the Hand of Frost shards. For Glacial Ray, she aims and does a very pretty ice laser. Again, watch where she's pointing and then don't stand there. Icefall marks a circle on one side of the room, which calls down a comet that you do not want to be underneath. Then, a line of smaller comets drops across the room from that point, leaving behind an Arctic ground stripe. Watch where the comet's coming in and stay out of that ice stripe path. At 40%, Jaina moves into her second intermission. She'll spawn a cold circle zone around her with flash freeze that slowly expands out from the middle. If you're caught in that, you'll be frozen, and when she's done flash freezing, she shatters you to death, so stay ahead of the circle. On one side, there will be an attackable ice wall that needs to be killed in order for the group to leave the room and get clear of the flash freeze. Behind that is a Tide Elemental, which you kill next. If it marks you with Heart of Frost, move away from your friends. On Heroic, it'll cast Waterbolt Volley for raid damage, and that needs to be kicked. Then, if it reaches 100 energy, it'll blast everyone and root them with a Dispellable Frost Nova. If it gets to that point, hopefully you've got a priest to mass dispel. Meanwhile, Jaina's been bombarding you with Arcane Barrage, which you want to move out of. You've been getting chilled this whole time, and there's no more fire in this encounter to warm up, so everyone needs to help break out frozen players. That was always true, but it's more likely to happen now. Kill the elemental and you're into the final phase, which looks a lot like phase 2. The flagship keeps up the broadsides and Siegebreaker Blast, the ground keeps being cold, and Jaina continues her Ice Shard, Glacial Ray, and Icefall. Just lots and lots of stuff to move out of. New to this phase, she gets Crystalline Dust, which is a brand new frontal cone to dodge. Shattering Lance is probably the most dangerous new thing. If a player is frozen, which will happen, a lance spawns at Jaina and will fire out towards the ice cube. Anyone in the path gets hit, so don't be in the way, and if the frozen player eats it, they're probably dead. Break ice cubes immediately and don't be in line of them in the boss. Prismatic Image summons an ad which copies some of Jaina's spells as if you didn't have enough on your plate. At this time, we don't know exactly what it copies, but it is safe to say that killing it is a priority. On Heroic and higher, there is one more thing, which is the Orb of Frost. She marks the location of a player and sends a pretty slow orb rolling in that direction. Anyone that touches it will take some damage, but reduce its power. When it reaches its destination or runs out of power, it'll explode for raid damage and apply chilling touch stacks to everyone based on how much power was left. Put people in the orb's path until it doesn't have any more juice. At any point during this phase, but especially right before the Orb of Frost, check in on your chill stacks. If you are close to 20 stacks of chilled, get close to melee so everyone can help break you out of your ice cube. And that's Jaina. That is what I call a final boss. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you out, please consider leaving me a like, check out my channel for more raid guides and other WoW stuff, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!